Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Southern Sandpiper. I'm your host, Kenny. And today we are going to be calling this New Tobacco Tuesday. I've also got one new pipe. This other one I've had for about a week, and we'll get into that as well. But I'm going to be smoking a tobacco that I'm not familiar with. And this is a His, H-I-S brand pipe from Italy. I do not know a lot about them except they were not very expensive. This one had a really cool grain. Let me get this. No, not lit up yet. This is what we're smoking today. It's from Boswell's, and I love these small jars for this reason. Whenever I get a tin or 2 ounces, they fit perfectly in this. But haven't tried this one before, and we are having it today. It is JM's Private Stock. And it is a beautiful flake that is a broken flake. Little tin note on this. It's got that real hay, grassy Virginias. There's some Cavendish in this. It's a vapor. But I'm getting a nose of chocolate. Maybe a hint of raisin. I'm getting some sweetness. But that sweetness is more of kind of a honey, and not really chocolate. Let's call it cocoa, like dark cocoa powder. Like if you had a mom who used to make homemade chocolate frosting out of real butter and confectionery sugar and Hershey's powdered cocoa, the dry cocoa, the unsweetened stuff. It's that smell. It's almost the smell when you open up the Hershey's cocoa, that dark chocolatey smell. But because that sweetness, it smells. It's got a similar smell to kind of a chocolate frosting, which kind of shocks me. Because I don't have much experience with them. Most of my experience that I have had with a vapor has not been really good because they usually burn a little too hot for me, as well as the Virginias to me just too much like a cigarette. So I may be making faces today. I may not enjoy them. Definitely different than what I'm used to. I do not have lots of experience at all with vapors. I usually kind of overly pronounce vapor or vapor because it's a Virginia Perique. I know it's just say vapor. I guess being a former vapor, one who used to vape to quit cigarettes, it sounds too much like vaping, so I kind of pronounce it a little strange. There's lots of things I pronounce strange, even though I was born and raised in Chicago. My grandparents were not. They were deep from Appalachia. So I say things, my wife looks at me and she's like, what? What does that even mean? But she does the same thing with me. Her grandparents' mother is Jewish, and her family, even though my wife herself is Greek Orthodox, She was baptized Greek Orthodox as a child because her stepfather was Greek and she was raised in a Greek household. But still being around a Jewish family her whole life, she's constantly using Yiddish phrases, and she has no idea how much Yiddish she actually speaks. And it's funny when you come to a place like Florida, where people, the majority, especially here in very rural Florida, they've never heard Yiddish. Growing up in Chicago, I think almost everyone uses one or two Yiddish phrases or words. Oy vey. I'm convelting. But very, very limited experience with a tobacco like this. And so far, I like it. That was my evil Santa impersonation from the Santa Claus too. I love that Santa carol. Real happy to hear that Tim Allen is reprising that role for a Disney Plus series. Remarkable, 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 remarkable tobacco. I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. I'm generally not a big fan of just Virginias. While it does have some of those qualities that I would notice in a cigarette, I'm not going to compare it to a cigarette because that would be wrong. There are qualities of this that reminds me of smoking a fine cigar. I'm getting some of that sweetness from these aged Virginias. And let's see if I can show you all this better. Let me dump some to the catch-all. How this comes. It's basically flake that's been broke. And some of it's been almost rubbed out to the point of looking almost ribbon, but there's kind of some of the larger broken flakes. And a shout out to my buddy David in the Villages, because I just use the word rubbed out. He finds it very funny when I say that about tobacco. So I'm sure him and his lovely wife are having a good laugh right now. Glad to be of entertainment, my friend. But this, you get quite a bit of this, but a lot of kind of broken, but it's gorgeous. Gorgeous color. You hear me mention that a lot. I really like a nice colored tobacco that's been aged in nice dark Virginias. Beautiful. I keep these pipes down for a second. I mean, I know I'm going to have to relight them, but I want to talk about these pipes. I generally don't give a lot of shout outs to sellers, but I want to give a shout out to this particular seller, Kahuna 100 on eBay. It first started off on my end being a negative, and thank God I had a really awesome seller. But I had received a pipe from him before, and while not an unattractive pipe, it was not the pipe that I ordered. The pipe that I won was this pipe. Now, they are both by his. They are both unique, slightly different variations of the same color. Both have nice blasts, just different. This one is a little craggier, very unusual blast in this one. But like I said, I don't know a lot about his pipes, but I did not pay a lot for this. But when I informed the seller of what had happened, um, without thought and hesitation, he sent me this pipe at no charge. The one that I had purchased, basically, he sent me this one. I had already paid for it. So I guess we could, in theory, say this one became free. But he sent me a pipe free of charge because it was his mistake. But was it his mistake? I can see, yeah, we could argue, yeah, he made his mistake to me. But I've not run across too many sellers on eBay that way. So I'm definitely going to keep him out. And just so you guys know, just the type of guy I am, I could not let him do that. So I sent him a PayPal payment. I asked for his PayPal information because eBay doesn't really show that much anymore. It just shows my PayPal as a payment to eBay. But in any case, I got his email information, sent him off a payment, and we'll just call it a donation to his work, since he did not want to charge me for this pipe. But I really, really appreciate when there's a remarkable good seller. And these pipes are wonderful values. You can find these typically in the, I see bids starting, the $9 range, and I see them selling all day long in the 25 to 35. I don't know if I've ever seen one go for more than 40 bucks. So as a collector, are they a great collector's piece? No, heck no. But not every pipe you have in your collection needs to be a collector's piece. Some pipes are just meant to be smoked. And what I can tell you about these are made in Italy. They're nice, lightweight Italian briar. And in my opinion, some of the best briar comes from Italy. I love Italian briar. Seen some good Greek briar too. But they've got interesting grains. I mean, if this briar was purchased by anybody, by Salvinelli or by Merchant Service, or heck, even by Ashton, but I don't know if they would buy Italian briar. But they could have probably got a very good usable pipe out of it themselves and charged a lot more money than these are. I like the finish. They remind me a lot of that tan shell. And I'm just a really, really big fan. So now let's get back to this. Let's see how this goes. I can tell you, it is burning down clean. I'm getting a hint of dried fruit. That chocolate that I mentioned in the tin note, there's a hint of that as well. I find for myself that either iced coffee or just water or a chai tea, for me, keeps my palate cleansed so I can actually taste the tobaccos. Coffee seems to work the best because it seems to just kind of enhance the tobacco. I argued with a friend one day on this, and not argued, discussed the significance, in my opinion, of drinking coffee with tobacco, more so probably than any other drink. Like, well, doesn't the strong taste of coffee interfere with the tobacco? And I guess my analogy to him was, it's like salt on a steak. If a steak is properly seasoned with proper salt, it doesn't make the steak taste like salt. The salt simply makes the steak taste more like steak. Well, the same for me is true with tobacco and coffee. Coffee does not make tobacco taste like coffee. It's not like I'm tasting coffee when I'm puffing away. No. Instead, what coffee is doing is making the tobacco taste more like tobacco. Sometimes I can taste more of the nuances. Even in an aromatic blend, if I'm drinking coffee, I can taste more of that. I can taste the Cavendishes, the Virginias, but it's got to be a quality tobacco. A lot of aromatics aren't. It's like cheap tobacco. Let's put a topping on it. People are just going to throw the room note and some flavor, and that's it. I don't like that. That's why I like the Scandinavian aromatics if I'm going to smoke an aromatic. With the exception of like the Lane 1Q and BCA, I think that's one of the best combinations. And of course, like Sutliff Creme Brulee. There's a few out there that I enjoy. But even Sutliff, that's Scandinavian tobacco group. Same parent company as McBaron. Not a daily smoker for me at this point, but something I will enjoy. And I think something that will definitely, I think, sell really, really well. I'm getting an earthiness, kind of a mushroomy, earthy, musky, woody flavor. I'm getting those sweetness from the Virginia, that cocoa-y in my mouth. So maybe a hint of raisin. Well, the smoke itself is nice and dry, and it seems to be burning really, really well. Nice, even ash burning down. Pipe's getting a little warm. I expect that from a Virginia, and this isn't a super thick walled pipe because it's probably like a standard group 4 type size. Not a big pipe, not a small pipe. I don't know if I'm crazy about the stem. I want to hear your guys' impressions on it. Tell me what you guys think. I think this would look really, really, really great, like with a amber stem or some type of like orangey acrylic, maybe even a Cumberland stem. It's just hard for me to spend that money on a stem, though, when the stem's going to cost me more money than the pipe did. So, man cave update. So, in about 2 weeks, I'm going to start temporarily setting up the man cave. I'm going to be gone in March for several days, about 5 days. I'm going to be up in Boston visiting a good friend of mine, James LeClaire. Jim runs the Gnostic Catholic Church of Boston. Originally from Eglise Gnostique Apostolique. He's ordaining a new priest, and I'm going to go there and sit. Good guy. Brews his own beer. He's owns his own general contracting company. Past master of his lodge, served in the Grand Lodge, has been commander of his Knights Templar group there that's associated with his Masonic Lodge. Good Mason, good guy. Real love of people. Big heart. A lot of people kind of misjudge Jim because he's definitely been kind of a blue-collared man. So a lot of people don't necessarily assume a blue-collar guy can be a very spiritual person, but rest assured, Jim's a very spiritual man. Some of the most spiritual people I've met have actually been blue-collar. I sort of have a different opinion on clergy and so many other professions. I've got an opinion on everything. I'm not a big fan of dedicated clergy only. Well, I understand that. To me, clergy should almost be like politicians in the sense that I think neither one of them, that should be their primary focus. I think they should all have careers outside of politics or being a priest or a minister, or bishop, rabbi, whatever. And I understand to run the functions of a church, it is kind of can be a full-time job, but I don't know if that's necessarily the job of the priest. You can have administrators for that. You can have a director of the church and an executive director who runs the operations, an operations manager. So much of what goes on in church is handled by employees anyways. But I think sometimes people would be a lot more relatable. And I think it was the way that our system designed it. I think many Christians would argue that Christ said to his disciples, "Come follow me." So they gave up their jobs. Most of them fishermen to come follow him. So I get the whole entire giving up and dedicating one's life into service and to spreading the word, whether, again, one is Christian or whatever faith one practices. I totally, on a logical side of my brain, understand it, and even from the spiritual side, I understand it. I just happen to disagree with myself. But I tend to like ministers from a lot of different faiths. Used to have a really, really great relationship with Father Ronnie down in Fort Myers, Florida. He was a priest at one of the local parishes down there. Just a wonderful, good guy, Filipino priest. Spoke like 7 languages, just wonderful gentleman. I try to find the things that we have in common and look for the things that separate us. Sometimes it drives my wife crazy. She thinks I'm being too PC. I'm not really PC at all. I'm a bit of a moderate. I don't consider myself extremes in others. I think we need a lot more moderation in this world right now. But just sitting here ranting and rambling on while smoking this and not thinking much about this tobacco sometimes is a great way to just learn a new tobacco and see its little subtleties you catch. This would definitely be something I could see myself enjoying with a nice adult beverage, especially a whiskey. I think this would be awesome with a whiskey. In fact, I'm going to try it tonight with maybe 2 fingers of a nice scotch. Got a nice 14-year-old cask strength. I think Spalvini. Might be a Macallan. I'll have to take a look. Good tobacco. Really good tobacco. So I'm going to give this tobacco a thumbs up. I'm also going to give a thumbs up to these His pipes. But more importantly, I want to give a thumbs up to the seller, who's an exceptionally great seller. That's all I got for you guys and gals today. Enjoyed spending time with you guys. If you're enjoying it as much as I am, please hit that subscribe button. Share it with your friends. Hit that little notification. Again, any ideas, please give them to me. Right now, I am loading up tons of videos just because I'm in a learning curve and I'm trying to get better. In fact, I'm going to probably start producing my own music for the videos or something in the next coming weeks. You guys heard some clips of me when I was young. It's some of the, just one in the intro and the outro music. Kind of that real hard rock, that was me. Kind of a Tool sounding band that was playing the intro and outro the other day. That was my twin brother and his project. I don't know the name of them, but him and 2 of his buddies, Nick and Dennis, they get together a few times a week and still play. You know, it's always nice to be able to enjoy those kind of things when you're an adult that you used to do as a child. So, again, I'm going to keep rambling if I don't let you all go. You all have a great and wonderful day today. I'm sure I'll be talking to you tomorrow. And thank you again for joining me here at Southern Santa Piper. Have a blessed day.